Ashley unlocked the front door, dropped her keys in the bowl, and walked toward her father's old music room. She stopped cold. Every amplifier, every guitar, every pedal had vanished, nothing but dust silhouettes on the faded carpet.
Dennis, where is everything?
She found Dennis in the kitchen, leaning against the counter with a half-smirk, coffee mug in hand. He didn't flinch at her question.
Sold it. Some dealer came by this morning, gave me a fair price. That old gear was just collecting dust.
That was my dad's equipment, Dennis. It was willed to me. How could you sell it without even asking?
Look, it was just old junk taking up space. I didn't think you'd mind. Besides, we needed the cash.
You had no right. Who did you sell it to? I need a name.
Don't remember. Some guy with a van. It's done. Ashley, let it go.
Ashley stumbled back to the music room. She sank onto the floor where her father's amp used to hum, clutching the little guitar-picked necklace he'd given her. All she had left was a handful of dust and a hollow ache.
He's gone. Every trace of him, and I don't even know where to start looking.
Minutes passed in the hollow silence. Then Ashley pushed herself off the floor, her grief hardening into something sharper. Her father's will. She had a copy in her bedside drawer. She unfolded the legal document, her finger tracing the line, "My entire collection of musical instruments and equipment shall be held in trust for my daughter, Ashley, until her 21st birthday."
You saw this, Dennis. You knew it was mine. Now tell me who you sold it to.
That piece of paper won't bring the junk back. Your father's been dead for 17 years. It's time you stopped living in a shrine.
This is theft. If you won't help me, I'll find them myself, and you'll regret it.
Go ahead. Dig through every pawn shop in the county. You won't find a thing.
Dennis pushed past her, grabbed his keys, and slammed the back door. The kitchen fell silent except for the hum of the refrigerator.
He knows more, but I am on my own. I have to find them somehow.
She had no name, no receipt, no lid. Just the ghostly outlines on the carpet and a burning need to reclaim what was stolen from her.
I will find them, no matter what it takes.
That night, Ashley sat hunched over her laptop, the glow carving hollows under her eyes. She set alerts for every model, every serial fragment she could remember, and posted on every gear forum she could find.
No, it was a 1965 deluxe reverb, black faceplate, a tear in the grill cloth. Nothing? What about a Les Paul with a repaired headstock?
Each call ended the same. A flat no, or a promise to keep an eye out that she knew meant nothing. The days stacked up, and her hope thinned with each unanswered alert.
Nothing. Thousands of listings, and not a single trace. It's like they vanished off the earth.
A childhood friend called Voice Careful. Maybe you should stop. Holding on to this is only hurting you. Ashley gripped the phone tighter.
Let it go. You don't understand. That gear was the only piece of my father I had. Without it, what's left?
The call ended, and the silence of the house pressed in. She sat on the floor of the music room, clutching the necklace, the dust outlines now fading in the evening light.
He's really gone. Not just his body, his sound, his hands, the evidence he ever played. All of it.
That night, she opened her laptop one last time, stared at the empty search alerts, and quietly closed the screen. The search was over.
Gone. And I don't even have a lead. I'll never see them again.
60 miles away, in a cluttered one-bedroom apartment, a retired roadie named Raymond scrolled through vintage instrument listings on an old desktop. It was a nightly ritual, a way to stay connected to the road.
Same overpriced Teles, same refinished Gibsons. Most of it's just noise.
Then his thumb stopped the scroll wheel. A listing with 2 grainy photos, a 1965 Fender Deluxe reverb amp with a distinctive diagonal tear in the grill cloth, and a sunburst Les Paul with an unmistakable repaired headstock crack.
No way. That's Danny's rig. I'd know that repair anywhere.
Raymond pushed back from the desk and pulled a worn leather logbook from a shelf. He flipped through pages filled with meticulous entries, serial numbers, repair dates, tube changes, all from the years he'd maintained Daniel's gear. There it was in his own handwriting: Fender Deluxe Reverb, serial A05821, grille tier repaired 1998. And below it, Les Paul's standard SN 867530, headstock crack glued and clamped, 2001.
Good Lord, these are Danny's. Someone sold them. But why? His girl Ashley, she must still have them.
He drifted to a framed photo on the wall. Daniel on stage, a younger Raymond beside the amp, both grinning under stage lights. He'd promised Danny he'd look after that gear.
I gotta find Ashley. She needs to know this is out there. Maybe I can help her get it back.
He didn't have a phone number, but he remembered her face. By 2 in the morning, he'd found her profile. His cursor hovered over the message button. The logbook opened beside him like evidence. Raymond typed a careful message, attached the screenshots, and hit send. He leaned back, heart thudding against his ribs. The message sat in Ashley's inbox for hours. It was past noon when her phone finally buzzed. Ashley rubbed her eyes, the screen's glare harsh after days in the dark. A message from an unknown name, Raymond Klein. She opened it. His words scrolled. I was your dad's roadie. I recognized his gear in a listing. I have the serial numbers to prove it.
A roadie? Dad never talked about a roadie. This could be a scam.
She opened the attached photos. The tear in the grill cloth, the repaired headstock. Her breath caught tight in her chest.
It looks like his, but how do I know this guy isn't lying?
She set the phone on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Hope and suspicion churned inside her, a sickening whirl. Minutes later, she picked it up again, rereading the message. Still, she didn't reply.
I can't trust this, but I can't ignore it either.
After a long pause, Ashley unlocked her phone and began to type. She erased it twice, then finally hit send. Her message was blunt. How do I know you really knew my dad? Tell me something only he would know. The reply came within minutes. Raymond's words tumbled onto the screen, each detail hitting her like a pulse. He tuned to drop D every Thursday. Your nickname was Cricket. Your first guitar pick was a purple Tortex with a chip. I still have a photo of you at soundcheck, asleep on his amp case.
I was Cricket. Oh God, he really knew him.
She fumbled for the keyboard, hands shaking. Can I call you? She typed, then sent her number.
Raymond? It's really you? Tell me more. I need to know.
Your old man once rewired that Les Paul in a motel bathroom because a fan spilled beer on it. I handed him the soldering iron while he cursed.
I remember that guitar. He let me trace the repaired crack with my finger.
By the time the call ended, Ashley had a name, a diner to meet at, and a quiet, unfamiliar sensation, a thread of hope. The next morning, Ashley walked into a quiet diner on the edge of town. Raymond was already there, a worn leather logbook on the table, his coffee untouched.
Raymond? It's been years. Thank you for coming.
Raymond slid a faded band photograph across the table. A younger Daniel grinned beside his amp, the same tear in the grill cloth clearly visible.
I logged every piece of gear he ever owned. Serial numbers, repairs, even the date I replaced those tubes. It's all here.
Ashley traced the neat handwriting with a trembling finger. Les Paul Standard, SN 867530, headstock crack glued, 2001. It matched the listing she'd seen.
That's it. That's my father's guitar. Oh my God, you really have proof.
I also have the listing screenshots with the same amp serial. We can show a dealer, prove it's stolen.
But we don't know who bought it. The listing didn't name the shop. How do we find them?
I've got a few contacts left. Old Road Dog Network. We'll track it down.
For the first time in days, Ashley let herself breathe. She wasn't alone anymore. But the dealer was still a ghost, and the hardest part was ahead. That afternoon, Raymond sat at his old desktop, calling contacts and digging through the listing metadata. 2 hours later, he leaned back with a name.
Ashley. It's Tom's Vintage Guitars, small shop 2 counties over. He's still got that deluxe listed. We found him.
On the other end, Ashley gripped the phone. The dealer had a face now, a location, but the thought of walking in made her throat tight.
What if it's already gone? Or he won't give it back? I can't lose them again, Raymond.
We'll go together tomorrow morning. He can't argue with the logs and the will. I'll be right beside you.
Okay, together. I'll pick you up at 8.
The next morning, gray clouds hung low. Ashley drove, her fingers tight on the wheel. Raymond in the passenger seat, with the logbook on his lap.
He might not have the Les Paul anymore. It's been days. What if it's already sold?
If it's still online, odds are good. Breathe, Cricket. We've got the proof.
They parked across the street. Tom's Vintage Guitars sat in a faded strip mall, its window packed with gear. Somewhere inside was her father's rig, if he hadn't sold it yet. The moment hung in the air, fragile and heavy. Ashley pushed open the glass door, a bell chiming overhead. The shop was a maze of vintage amplifiers, guitar racks, and dusty shelves. She scanned quickly. No sign of her father's rig on the floor. A man in his 40s, with glasses, looked up from behind the counter. His expression was open but wary, wiping his hands on a cloth.
Help you find something.
I am looking for a 1965 Fender Deluxe Reverb with a tear in the grille, and a sunburst Les Paul with a repaired headstock.
Tom's smile flickered, then vanished. He set down the polishing cloth and straightened, his posture shifting to guarded.
Where did you hear about those?
We saw the listing. I recognized the serial numbers. I used to maintain that gear for the owner.
Tom's eyes darted between them. Then he nodded slowly. His mouth pressed into a thin line.
Yeah. I bought those a few days ago from a private seller. Paid cash. Clean deal. What's this about?
The gear was here. But Tom's defensive posture made it clear. He thought this was legitimate, and he wasn't about to give it up without a fight.
That gear was willed to me. The man who sold it, my stepfather, had no legal right. He stole it from me.
I paid cash for them. The seller looked legit. How do I know you are not the one trying to pull something?
Raymond placed the logbook on the counter, beside a copy of the will. He flipped to the pages with the serial numbers, his fingers steady.
I logged these guitars for 15 years. Every repair, every serial, they match your listing exactly. And this will prove ownership.
Tom pulled the amp closer and tilted it to read the chassis serial. He checked his own purchase log, then the logbook. His jaw tightened.
I've dealt in vintage gear for 20 years and never had an issue. But these numbers, they line up. This might be bigger than a bad deal.
They're all I have left of my dad. Please, I'll do whatever it takes to get them back.
We're not asking for charity. You bought in good faith, but legally, you are holding stolen goods. We can work out a fair solution.
All right, let's talk. But I need something in writing. A release, no liability. I can't afford to lose my business over this.
The door had cracked open, but nothing was settled yet. The amp and guitar still sat on the shop floor, and the question of what else had been sold hung over them like a coming storm.
The Deluxe and Les Paul are here. But the pedal board and cabinet? I sold them to a collector last week.
You sold them? That pedal board was custom, and the cabinet had a signature sound. Who bought them?
Guy named Garcia. He pays cash, no receipts. I don't have a contact. I am sorry. I didn't know.
We need that name. But first, let's finish the gear still here.
Take the amp and guitar. Pay my cost. Sign this release, and they're yours. And they're yours.
Ashley read the release 3 times, her eyes scanning each line. Then she signed her name in a quick, shaking hand. Tom lifted the Les Paul from its stand and placed it in Ashley's hands. She held it like something sacred. Raymond and Tom carried the heavy deluxe to the trunk in silent teamwork. A small victory, but the hollow spaces of the missing pieces stung with every step.
2 pieces still out there. I am not giving up.
They drove away with the guitar and amp, the road ahead, winding toward an uncertain chase. Back at the house, Ashley carried the guitar case to the empty music room and knelt beside the dust outlines. She opened the case and traced the repaired headstock with her fingertip.
You are home. At least part of you is home.
Raymond leaned in the doorway, a set of tools in his hand. We should check the electronics and get new strings. She needs a little love.
Later, first, I need to call Dennis. He has to know what he did.
She dialed. Dennis answered on the 4th ring, his voice laced with annoyance. What now, Ashley?
I found the guitar and amp, Dennis. The serial numbers proved they were mine. You sold stolen property.
You went behind my back. I told you to drop it. That gear was worthless. I needed the money.
You had no right. The will was clear. I am going after the rest, and you'll pay for what's still missing.
Keep this up, and you are out of this house. I'll cut you off completely. No car, no help. You'll be nothing.
Ashley's hand trembled, but she didn't relent. Then be nothing without me. She ended the call and stared at the guitar. The first true battle was over, but the war had only begun. The next morning, Ashley sat at the kitchen table with her father's will and Raymond's logbook. A family lawyer was on speakerphone, her voice crisp and resolute. The lawyer dictated a demand letter. The musical equipment you purchased from Dennis has been identified as stolen property. Return it immediately or face legal action. Ashley called Tom. His voice was wary. I looked again. Garcia's email is on an old receipt. Give me an hour. An hour later, an email arrived from Garcia. I didn't know it was stolen. The pedal board is yours. Where should I ship it? 2 days later, a package sat on the doorstep. Ashley lifted out the pedal board. Her father's fingerprints still ghosted on the switches.
One more back. But Garcia said he sold the cabinet to someone offline. No name.
This paper trail dies here. The cabinet's gone dark. If that buyer paid cash, there's no record to track.
Then I'll call every vintage shop in the state. I'll post everywhere. I am not giving up now.
That same afternoon, Dennis received a copy of the lawyer's letter. A neighbor saw his truck in the driveway. Door open, engine running, but no one inside for an hour. That night, Ashley plugged the pedal board into the amp. A soft hum filled the empty room. Her father's static, but the space where the cabinet should stand, remained a hollow ache. The next morning, after little sleep, Ashley stared at the empty space where the cabinet belonged. She gathered the will, the logbook, and the lawyer's letter, then drove to the police station. An officer took her statement in a cramped interview room, jotting down every serial number. She slid the will and the maintenance log across the table. By noon, the same officer stood on the front porch. Dennis opened the door with a beer in hand, his smirk vanishing the moment he saw the badge. Inside the kitchen, Dennis stumbled through an alibi while the officer compared his story against the will and logbook. Dennis's confidence shattered when the lawyer's letter was produced.
I bought that stuff fair and square years ago. She's lying to get attention.
The officer left a copy of the report on the counter. A neighbor pruning hedges across the street watched, then quickly looked away. The gossip would spread by evening. That evening, Ashley returned home to find Dennis waiting in the driveway, 2 curious neighbors lingering on the sidewalk. His face was blotched red.
You called the cops on your own family? You are dead to me, Ashley.
You stole what wasn't yours. I am not the one who made this happen.
The neighbors murmured. Dennis stormed inside, slamming the door. The police investigation hung over the house, but in the music room, The dust outline of the missing cabinet seemed carved into the floor. That night, Ashley packed a bag, her hands shaking. She couldn't stay under the same roof as Dennis. Through the window, she saw his truck still running in the driveway, exhaust curling like a threat. She drove to Raymond's apartment, the pedal board and logbook on the passenger seat. He opened the door before she knocked, a blanket already folded on the couch.
You are safe here. We'll find that cabinet.
2 days, blurred into a haze of search alerts and dead ends. Ashley stared at her laptop until her eyes burned, while Raymond worked the phones. On the third evening, Raymond froze mid-scroll. A new listing on a gear forum featured a single photo, a vintage 2x12 cabinet with a distinctive burn mark on the Tolex. The serial was partially visible.
That's it. That's the cabinet. The burn mark came from a soldering iron I dropped back in '97.
Who's selling it? We need to contact them now.
The seller's handle was vague, but Raymond found a phone number buried in an old feedback thread. He dialed, and a gruff voice answered.
We're interested in the JBL cabinet, but it's stolen property. We have police records.
The dealer paused, then named a price that made Ashley's stomach drop. Double what Tom had charged. I know what it's worth, he said. Take it or leave it.
That's my car money, but if I don't do this, I'll always hear the silence where that cabinet should be. I'll pay, but I need to see the serial number and the burn mark in person.
The next morning, they met the dealer at a dusty storage unit. The cabinet sat in the corner, the burn mark unmistakable. Ashley knelt and matched the serial number to Raymond's logbook. Her fingers traced the scorch mark. She handed over an envelope of $100 bills, every cent she'd saved. The dealer counted, then nodded. Raymond and the dealer wrestled the cabinet into the back of her car. It barely fit. On the drive back, Ashley glanced at the withdrawal slip on the dash. 0 balance. She tightened her grip on the wheel, back at Raymond's. They set the cabinet beside the amp. The Les Paul, the pedal board, the deluxe, all together now.
Dad, I got them back. Every last one.
Raymond stood in the doorway, arms crossed, and said, "The full rig. Your old man would be proud." That afternoon, Ashley drove from Raymond's back to the house, determined to face Dennis one last time. His truck was in the driveway.
I got them all back, Dennis. The guitar, amp, pedal board, the cabinet, the whole rig, and the police still have your name.
I never wanted to hurt you. I owed money, gambling debts. I thought I could pay it back before you noticed.
You sold my father's life because of a bet? You didn't even ask. You just took.
Dennis stood slowly and walked to the bedroom. Ashley heard drawers open, then the thud of a suitcase on the bed. She watched from the doorway as he packed clothes, a shaving kit, a photo of him and her mother. He didn't look at her. The front door opened and closed. Through the window, she watched him load the suitcase into the truck and drive away without looking back. On the kitchen table, a folded note. "I am sorry. I'll pay you back someday." She stared at it, then tore it into small pieces.
It won't bring back the years, but I have what's left of him.
The house was silent now, but for the first time, it didn't feel empty. The gear sat in the living room, waiting. Ashley rearranged the living room, positioning the amp, cabinet, and pedal board in a half circle. The Les Paul stood in the center, ready.
This isn't a museum. It's where I'll learn to play.
Raymond arrived with a leather tool roll and a new set of strings. He knelt beside the amp and patted the case.
Let's get fresh strings on this old girl. Your dad always used 10s, said they had more soul.
Raymond told her about her father's first gig, a dive bar where the PA failed and he sang unamplified.
He started with his back to the crowd. By the final chorus, they were stomping their feet.
I never heard that story. He never told me about the hard nights, only the good ones.
Raymond handed her the guitar, freshly strung. The neck felt cool and familiar, as if it had been waiting.
His hands held this same neck, His music is still in here.
The living room was no longer a shrine. It was a music room, waiting for its first note. Raymond stood behind her and gently placed her fingers on the fretboard. Index on the second fret, middle on the third.
Press hard. Don't worry about the pain. You'll build calluses soon enough.
She strummed. The chord came out, muffled, buzzing with dead notes. She winced, but kept her grip.
It sounds wrong. I am not doing it right.
Try again. Lighter touch. Just the tips, right behind the frets. Let the wood do the work.
She adjusted her fingers, eyes fixed. This time, the E chord rang out clean and true, filling the quiet room. The sound bloomed through the old deluxe, warm and resonant. Ashley's eyes widened, tears pooling.
That's his sound. My dad's voice.
She played a simple arpeggio, one note at a time, slow and deliberate. The notes hung in the air like a promise kept. Raymond nodded, his eyes glistening. And then Ashley laughed, a broken, tearful laugh, as the Les Paul hummed against her chest. The gear was no longer a shrine. It was alive. Every evening, Ashley practiced. Her calluses thickened. The chord changes grew fluid. On the wall, her shadow moved with the guitar. She found an old cassette tape. Her father's band recorded live. The melody was simple, and it settled into her bones.
I can play his song. I can bring him back.
One Saturday, Raymond arrived with a pair of shakers. He sat on the arm of the couch and shook them softly.
Ready, cricket. I'll keep the beat.
They launched into the song, her chords layered over his steady shake, the old amp humming with life. On the chorus, she missed a change. He laughed, and so did she. They paused, then found the rhythm again. The room filled with raucous, imperfect music. No silence, no dust, just her father's song made new. When the last note rang out, she leaned back. Dennis was a distant memory, faded as the dust she'd swept away.
Your dad would have said that was just right.
Months later, at a dimly lit open mic, Ashley signed her name on the list. Her hand was steady. She waited off stage, the Les Paul hanging from her shoulder strap, her father's pick necklace catching the light.
I am not nervous. I am just ready.
She walked to the single mic, adjusted the stand, and leaned in.
This is a song my dad wrote. I am still learning it, but it's for him.
She began to play, the chords simple but clear. Raymond, in the front row, covered his mouth with his hand. Her voice wobbled on the high note, but she pushed through, eyes closed. When the last note faded, the room was silent for a heartbeat. Then applause, warm, steady, genuine. Raymond's eyes were wet, but his smile was broad. He clapped louder than anyone. Afterward, outside, he pulled her into a rough hug. He'd be proud, cricket. She just nodded, and the night felt complete. Later, they sat on the front porch steps. The night air was cool, and the street was quiet.
I never got to thank you properly. Without you, I'd still be staring at dust.
I was just keeping a promise to an old friend. Your dad would have done the same.
She looked down the street where the porch light pooled around them in a golden circle.
You gave me back more than gear. You gave me back a way to hear him.
You found the rest on your own. I just pointed. You are the one who played.
He stood and pulled his jacket tight. They embraced, one rough, lasting squeeze, before he walked to his car. She watched his taillights disappear, then walked inside. The house was quiet, but not empty. The living room glowed. The vintage guitar stood on its stand, the amp silent but full of potential. No shrine, just a home, ready for tomorrow. The small guitar pick necklace hung from the headstock, catching the light. And somewhere, a quiet chord still seemed to hum.